News 3 is taking action for your health. I'm Jessica Larché, and I'm partnering with our Hampton Roads branch of the American Heart Association to share heart health and stroke awareness, especially among women. You know, heart disease is the #1 killer of women, more than all cancers combined. But 80% of heart disease and strokes could be prevented by making better eating and exercise choices. 80%. Think of all the moms, grandmothers, sisters, aunts, and friends who could still be here today if we all ate a little better, exercised a little more, and were aware of the warning signs. And for women, those heart attack signs can be different than what men experience. My friend Catherine Moore thought she had a bad toothache, but it turned out she was having several heart attacks.
Life is short, and this heart attack made me realize just how short life is.
Hooked up to tubes and monitors, this was Catherine Moore moments after heart surgery. On her chest, a deep scar from the single bypass surgery. People stare, but she doesn't mind because it means she's alive.
I said I had open heart surgery. I had 5 heart attacks. Do you want to hear about it?
It's been a year and a half since she survived those heart attacks. 4 of them happened before she even stepped foot in the emergency room.
It's really important to know the symptoms because they manifest different in women than they do men.
The first signs started on a Thursday. She was tired, couldn't shake it.
I just became very exhausted as the day came on. I was tired, I was lethargic. It was hard for me to walk from one room to the other.
Then her jaw started to hurt.
And I had a little bit of jaw pain, and I thought maybe it was a toothache.
By Friday, her upper back was hurting too, and by Saturday, her left arm started to go numb. That's what sent her to the ER.
And I said, well, I have a really bad toothache and some upper back pain, so I'm thinking maybe my tooth might have gotten infected.
But doctors tested her heart and learned she was in the middle of a heart attack. Soon, she was on the operating table.
My cardiologist told me that if I hadn't, I would have been dead within a week.
People will put off the symptoms or ignore them, trying to convince themselves that it's not heart disease.
Bon Secours cardiovascular doctor Robert Lancey says knowing the different signs of a heart attack in women could be the difference between life and death.
Women can have chest pain, but more often present with other symptoms, jaw pain or back pain, shortness of breath, nausea, and vomiting.
The American Heart Association says more women die of heart disease than all forms of cancer combined. That's 1 in 3 women, a death nearly every minute. Dr. Lancey says that's why women need to know the signs and be adamant with their doctors to check for heart disease, even if they don't bring it up.
Heart disease is not diagnosed as well in women, and this has been going on for 20, 30 years.
Luckily, Catherine's doctors knew what to look for, and now she knows her purpose, creating awareness and promoting prevention as a volunteer with the Hampton Roads branch of the American Heart Association.
When I tell people my story, they say, you know, God has you here for a reason. If my story can help, say, one person, then it's all worthwhile to me.
One of the risk factors for heart disease and stroke, high blood pressure. That's why the American Heart Association says it's important to know your numbers.
145 over 92.
180 over 111.
182 over 100. And I had a heart attack and a cardiac arrest, and then a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a heart attack or stroke are far from invisible or silent.
My memory is shot.
When I woke up, I couldn't speak.
I can't button up a shirt. I can't run.
I've had to learn to swallow again.
That's the only moments that I have. And I'm 33, so I never see this coming.
If I would have followed a treatment plan, I would not be in this situation.
Had I done this, had I done that, hell, I messed up.
Get back on your plan, or talk with your doctor to create an exercise, diet, and medication plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Head to toe, everything's changed.
High blood pressure is one of the biggest risk factors for strokes, and that can be managed with better eating, exercise, and medication when it's prescribed. But if a stroke does happen, getting help right away is the difference between life and death, and that's why we need to know the signs. in great company for this Woman of Impact competition. It's an effort by our local branch of the American Heart Association to highlight women in each of the 7 cities who've been on a mission to spread heart health and stroke awareness. I have the honor of representing the city of Norfolk. As many of you know, I've been on the journey of a lifetime, losing 100 pounds over the years after a high blood pressure diagnosis 9 years ago. Once I learned hypertension was a risk factor for heart disease and stroke, I knew I had to make a change. And that's my why, prevention. My fellow competitor representing the city of Newport News, Terry Ackerson. She's a nurse, an avid runner, and a stroke survivor. An undiagnosed heart problem led to her stroke in 2013.
There was a moment of bartering with God because I thought, am I ever going to be able to tell my son or husband that I love them? Are those words ever going to come out of my mouth again?
Representing the city of Chesapeake, Tamika Quinn. She survived 2 strokes after giving birth to one of her daughters. But it wasn't until years later, when her daughter developed high cholesterol, that she took action to make a change.
I had these strokes at 27. I was paralyzed. I had to relearn how to do everything. I went through an extensive amount of rehabilitation. It wasn't until my daughter, who was 8 at the time, developed severe high cholesterol that it clicked for me that I have to make a change, not just for myself, but for my family.
Representing the city of Suffolk, twin sister chefs Deborah Rabson and Dedra Blunt. They started sharing heart-healthy meal alternatives after their mother survived a heart attack. Do you guys realize that you're saving lives by sharing the advice when it comes to cooking with folks?
Yes. I try not to think about it because I will cry. I was going to say it, cry. I'm a huge crybaby, Jessica, and people don't know that about me. But if I think about it too hard, I'll cry. So I try not to, focus on it a lot. But, usually when I leave with like a demonstration or whatever, and I reflect on it, I'm like, wow, we are really changing lives, one recipe at a time.
Representing the city of Portsmouth, Avanti Allen Benson. She's a health advocate and manager in the Portsmouth Health Department. Like many of us, she found herself struggling to stay on track during the pandemic, but she says she's more determined than ever to lead by example.
My last set of numbers were horrible. So that was a wake-up call because diabetes runs in my family, high blood pressure runs in my family. Okay, obesity is a risk factor for all of the chronic diseases. So I had to make a change.
And our youngest competitor is from Hampton, Sierra Williams McLeod. She's a biochemistry major at Hampton University, and she co-founded a healthy food pantry for college students. She says you're never too young to put your health first.
Start now. It's never too early to take control of your health. You only have one body, so treat it well.
What an incredible group of women. The real winner in this competition is Hampton Roads. Because of this mission, more people know what it takes for heart and brain health. Getting that 150 minutes of exercise per week, ditch the salt and sugar and fill up on veggies, fruit, and lean meat. 80% of heart disease and strokes could be prevented with these simple lifestyle changes, and you deserve to be a part of that number. We have more information about the competition and how you can take action for your health right now at WTKR.com. Jessica Larché, News 3.